In this day and age, I can't really fathom the idea of running a farm without some kind of fence. Up until now, I've had two farms. One in a typical African village setting, located on about 1/3 of an acre with chickens, local chickens and both commercial chickens, you know, the layers, a cow, 3 or 4 goats, maybe 5 sheep, a turkey here and there, just a few animals around. And then it's located just next to a school. Actually, it's bordered by a school on one side, a church on the other side, relatives very nearby, and other villagers around. I wouldn't say it's hyper-populated, but it's a normal African village setting. And then you have this farm. This is a way bigger farm, 400 acres. I wouldn't really say you have neighbors, because from the central part where almost everyone lives, you have to walk out quite some distance before you encounter any neighbors. But of course, we do have neighbors on the outside of the farm, and those neighbors are also other big farms just like this same exact farm. And the farm has, of course, more animals, over 100 heads of cattle, 500 goats and sheep, over 3,000 chickens. We have guinea fowls and lots of people living by. What I've learned though is that fences are needed, and there's just no way you can do without them. Hi guys, welcome back to Farm Up. I'm Dr. Daniel, a retired medical doctor who is very passionate about farming, and this is your one-stop channel for everything to do with farming. So if you're interested and you would love to learn as much as you can about farming, please hit that subscribe button, smash that notification bell, that way you never miss out on an upload. So guys, right here we are building fences today, and over the past few days we've been building fences. This is a fence which is surrounding a paddock where we're going to be keeping the calves. You can see the calves right there in the background. They are feeding. And then this is another fence which we are also actually still building. It's been just a few days in the making. And this is surrounding the chicken house. You can see this already has the chain link around it. We're going to be using chain link for both this fence and the other fence. And you can see the chicken structure in the background. Now this fence surrounding the chicken structure is 30 meters in all directions from the chicken house, and that's for purposes of biosecurity. So this fence is very important because of what's going to be inside that chicken house. Our chickens. Those chickens are a very big investment. Of course, the fence itself is a very big investment. But if we don't put the fence, the repercussions of what could happen if the chickens get sick and die with interaction from human beings or any other animal, we could lose all the money that we've put in. And guys, it's quite a lot of money. Now, it's not just on such a big chicken structure that you need a fence. Even on my other farm where I have had just 1,000 birds maximum and a smaller house on just 1/3 of an acre, I did fence it because of the same reason. You know, the chicken structure was just next to a school in the local neighborhood, and you don't want people, kids coming in and interacting with the chickens, peeping to see why the chickens are curious about it. They all interact with animals in their local areas, and they could bring diseases to the farm. And this is going to be the story for all the chicken houses we're going to be building, all the poultry farms. We have to fence them and surround them and make sure that they are safe, to make sure that we don't have any disease. But this over here that we haven't put the fence on, the chain link on, this is going to be the calf shed. So now guys, this is on quite a huge area of land too. This is about, if I can estimate, maybe 8-10 acres of land over here. It's where the calves are going to be feeding from. Now the calves currently are actually out of their area, the area that's going to be fenced, but it's okay, they really can't go anywhere else right now. But the reason this place has been fenced is because it just doesn't make sense to have one person, a dedicated person, looking after calves the entire day. I think that's wasting time and money. You could have that one person moving around and doing other things. So what we decided to do is build a calf area, this 8 or 10 acres of land, and put a fence around it. Guys, it's a really good thing that the rest of the sides over there and over here actually already did have a hedge. So the hedge is acting as the fence on these two other sides, and on this side and the other side, which don't have hedges, we are going to construct this fence. That will enable us just let the calves come in from the outside in the morning with their mothers, enter this area, they feed on the grass, in the evening they go back. No one needed to attend to them, maybe just make sure that we provide them with water. And that also protects our maize, which is right here, not very far from where the cows are. You guys can see them over there in the background, and we have the maize right here. So that means that currently someone, you guys can see him, has to stand over here to watch over the calves to make sure that they don't invade the maize, because if they do invade the maize, we are doomed. We've lost a lot. There's no point growing the maize if they're going to be eaten by the animals. Now, the cattle are quite intelligent and they will use any gap to escape, especially through these hedges. So because of that, we actually do have to put barbed wire in between the areas that have spaces. You guys can see the barbed wire over here, the one I'm holding, yeah? We have to move along the entire length of the fence and look for areas that might have openings and patches, because if we don't, then the calves and the cattle will go through, and the goats, in fact the goats, this is useless for the goats, almost useless, you know, the goats and the sheep, they can go right through it, so they need almost constant supervision all through. But for the cattle, at least this is important, and it protects from the calves having to escape and go to the other side where they'll then be eating the maize. But then occasionally you'll have stuff like this. You see this, guys? This is a fence that has been thrown down. It has fallen, and it wasn't by rain, or it wasn't impact from a human being or a truck. No, it was a bull. So guys, right now we are in the cow shed. This is where the cattle stay. Right now they have moved out because it's time for them to feed. But you can see the fence that we put up here. This is meant to separate the cow shed from the goat shed, which is right on the other side. You can see the goats in the background. But what happened, guys, is that not so long ago, probably 3 months ago, we had the biggest bull on the farm sold because it was growing old, you know, it was growing old and weak. It had started losing weight. It was really done. So we sold it for consumption, for meat. And with that, it meant that the 2 younger bulls that were left behind now had no alpha. So currently they have been involved in a lot of fights, trying to decide who is the alpha male. And because of that, they are always fighting. A lot of the time they are fighting. At some point they'll decide who is the stronger one. But for now, it has come with, you know, lots of repercussions. We've had lots and lots of the fence break. Even at the end over there, you can see that the fence is broken. But the fence is important here. Now here, it's not for biosecurity measures again. In this place, number one, it's for making sure that the cattle don't escape in the night, because in the night when the people are sleeping or when we are sleeping, we lock the place up. You know, we have a gate over there, yeah? We don't want someone around to look after the cattle the entire night. Number two, for protection of the cattle themselves. People might come in and try to steal them and take them out, or someone might decide to try to injure the cattle. And guys, we also have a goat shed fence right there. Most of these fences have been made from chain link because compared to building a wall, it's really cheap. Number two, it provides for aeration. You can see from a distance, so you don't need to worry about proper air exchange or not being able to see from a distance. So right here you can see that this is the fence for the goats. This is quite old. It has been around for some time. But this has protected the goats and the kids. Really, really protected them. When he had just gotten here, the fence was messed, so the dogs on the farm could go through. And these dogs are very good at hunting outside. The only problem is that they are not very selective. So they would eat the kids of the sheep and the goats too. So we decided to, you know, work on it and fix it, and that provides protection. So with that, we've actually had the number of animals increase, skyrocket a lot over the past few months, because we don't have lots of the animals dying or being eaten by the dogs and by predators from the outside. The problem though with this fence in the goat shed is that the goats love to rub themselves against the fence, and when they do so, they pull the tags out of their ears. So lots of them have had their ear tags, you know, torn out, because when the ear tag sticks inside in here, when the goat is trying to pull the ear out, it will just tear it. So lots of them have lost their tags because of this. We have to find a solution for it though. This fence over here, even if it looks unformed and then have a nice shape, it's arguably one of the most important of the farm. And you know why? It's because it separates the animal area over here from the garden area. Yeah, so the last thing you want in your garden area is animals, because animals don't discriminate. You know, they're not like us human beings who can be like, hey, I think this is really expensive food, I'll eat just a little bit of it, you know, I won't eat it to fill myself up. No, it doesn't matter what kind of vegetation it is, they will eat it like it's grass. So this is our garden section. I'll just get in. Oh, it's really loud. Okay, so I'll get in, close it up. You guys can see the garden, yeah? You can see the crops. You can see that the tomatoes have had supports put around them. The tomatoes and the cucumber, they have had supports put around them, and they have done quite some good weeding all around here. So you guys can see the tomatoes, yeah? They have lots of supports, cucumber there in the background. Oh my God, lots of weeding. You know, the last time I was here, everything was in a mess. I wouldn't say everything was in a mess, but weeding hadn't been done, and there were lots of weeds around. Right now, a lot has been maintained. But after putting in all this effort, you don't want cattle, goats, and sheep to come in and eat all your vegetables. So this fence over here has been a very, very useful fence. Again, it's not like the perfect fence, yeah? Goats would very, very easily slip through here. But we've tried to reinforce it, you know, using barbed wire. We have barbed wire inside here to make sure that we reduce the amount of things that can go through. And then finally, around the farm, we have razor wire. I won't walk there because it's quite far, you know, the outer perimeter of the farm. Now, it's also made from hedges, just like this, you know. But in there, we put razor wire, and that's to protect from thieves coming from the outside. You know, if he tries running through, he'll probably get cut. We want to minimize theft as much as possible. So, guys, tell me, have you done any kind of farming without fences? Especially if you have more than just crops. You know, if it's just crops and you don't have neighbors around, you might be able to survive. It's difficult to have crops, though, without animals around the area. And I can't imagine how you can do a farm without fences. I think fences are like the lifeline of a farm. Really, the lifeline of a farm. Can you do farming without fences? Let me know. I honestly think it's impossible. And in the near future, we're going to be erecting way more and more fences to enable us have better control, because that means you have less supervision of particular places, because you're not worried about animals crossing over, to provide protection and just put things in order. Thanks guys for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Lots of love. Bye-bye.